What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Entre Mike back with the Entre Short for Entrepreneur. And in today's video, we're going to be going over every single thing that you should consider before starting a box truck business today in 2025. In this video, we're going to be covering topics such as should you have an LLC or sole proprietor? We're also going to be diving into compliance issues and how you can set up your DOT number correctly. We're also going to be touching size of equipment. What's your clearance need to be? How long does your box truck need to be a viable source? We're going to compare load availability for reefer type box trucks and straight box trucks that are dry. And then we're going to be going over if you need an ELD and when do you need an electronic logging device, when crossing state lines or staying within state lines. And then finally, we're going to be going over cost per mile calculations and how you can actually calculate your own cost per mile by the time you get done watching this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. I put a lot of thought into this. If you guys could just drop a like and a comment down on where you're from or what kind of equipment you're thinking about getting, it will really help me out. Also, links for every single thing in this video, from the calculator, the links, the discounts, will be in the description. And if you want to support the channel, make sure you click those links and let's get into the video. So first, we're going to dive into the topic that I get pretty much questions on every single day when I talk to clients. Mike, should I get an LLC or a sole proprietor? And although it's a simple answer, it's not a simple question, right? Because not having an LLC puts your personal assets, your savings account, even your truck at risk of not being protected. The LLC separates your business life from your personal, and you want to have an LLC, especially if you're going to get into the industry of trucking. Me personally, I use Busy. If you guys want to use the LLC platform that I use when setting up all three of my businesses, I can show you step by step how to get to the website. All right, guys. So I'm on my YouTube channel right here, right? So you can go to any one of my videos, and in the description, it'll say get your LLC or your EIN. You'll get both of them. Your LLC is what's going to protect your company, and that EIN, employer identification number, is going to act as a social security for your business, right? So you just want to click this link, hit start my business, entity type LLC, and then this is where you'll pick your state and put in all of your personal information, such as your address, what type of business you're going to be getting into. If you need help with the NAIC code, I can look that up for you if you need that. And it's pretty straightforward. Getting access to your documents is as simple as just logging in with your email and password. And it's just super simple. It's ridiculously simple. And I've never had any complaints on it, right? Now, it does come with a price. So just to go over the three packages and how I usually go about it. I always did premium, and most of the clients that I work with get premium. The reason why is because you get expedited filing. So usually it'll take you about 4 weeks to get your LLC and EIN established. Me, I want to get it over with. I want to go ahead and get it locked in. So I do the 3-day package for the extra 100. And also, just a tip when setting up, do not use a virtual address. I don't know if it's on this page. Oh, there it is right there. So when you're in the actual setting up for the application, they will try to upsell you $50 to $100 to get a virtual address. Do not do this, because the FMCSA, the insurance companies, even finance companies do not like virtual addresses to send mail to. That's when you're trying to receive your title, when you're trying to receive important documents. They do not use it. All right. Use a physical address that you actually use as your principal place of business. Most people use the same license that's on their driver's license, and they don't have any issues. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the next point of this video. And as far as compliance and setting your business up, in my link tree, I will have a company that will help you do your DOT and MC number for a very reasonable price. But if you want to do it yourself, I want you guys to simply click the link that's at the top in this video. I'll have a little card tag called how to get your DOT and MC number for your box truck business. It's like a 20-minute video where I go step by step on everything you need to do to get the right liability requirement, to get the right freight type, to get the right equipment type the first time. So you're not going back and forth with the FMCSA. They're pretty ancient when it comes to their technology and communication skills. Let's just keep it frank. So You do not want to get left behind. You do not want to do this incorrectly on your own or pay somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. Get the information. It's completely free. And that's all I wanted to touch on for compliance at this current moment. We'll hit more on it during the ELD portion of this video. All right, next topic, we're going to be getting into size of equipment. For some reason, there's still a good amount of people that are not only that are basically interested in the 16-foot, 20-foot box trucks. Me personally, I wouldn't advise anybody going under 26 feet for their box truck. There are some who get away with 24 foot and they do just fine. But if you want to be very diverse, if you don't want to have limited availability, go with the 26-foot box truck. And as far as clearance, and when I speak on clearance, I'm not talking about the 102 height or 100 height in the door and by 98 and when you're inside the actual trailer. I'm talking about clearance at the actual door. You need your clearance height and width to be 96, right? A lot of these shippers and warehouses use 48 by 48 pallets to ship their freight, right? That means you'll hold about 12, maybe 14 pallets. But long story short, they use 48 by 48 pallets. So when you put those side by side, it's not really an issue of stacking them up, but side by side. So having that 96 width is super important, but having it at the door is just as important, right? If you can, try not to settle for the 92 by 92. Get you a 96 by 96. It will allow you way more access to freight. I'm checking the load boards every single week if you want to tune in with me. And there are plenty of brokers, a lot of brokers actually, that require 96 by 96 clearance. For the next section of this video, I want to dive into load availability for reefer freight for a box truck and dry freight for a box truck. So let's go ahead and hop over on the DAT load board so I can show you a few tips. All right, so we got the load board up for Atlanta, Georgia. Not too hot and sexy when it comes to dry freight or reefer freight for box trucks, but I want to show you guys something, right? So as I'm scrolling through, I'll do this. You see there's 147 results. We're not going to pay attention to the similar results. We just want the 147 results. If I was to take out reefer and straight box reefer, there's 140 results. So what is that saying? That's saying within Atlanta, Georgia, if you were to take out the dry freight, there would only be 7 loads available for a straight box reefer and a reefer truck in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, given it is Friday and I got the load search out to Monday, but it's not a ton of loads. It is not a ton of loads. So this is actually a good rate though, $500 for 13 miles. Yeah, although the loads are technically higher paying for reefer than for van. Like right here, you see the average is around $230-ish a mile, I guess you could say. Let's go to van. Right, and then you got national averages around $2 a mile, maybe $2.10 a mile for the dry freight, right? I'm just kind of simply bringing this up to say I haven't seen a ton of reefer box truck freight on these load boards. It may be other load boards that could give you a shot for more reefer freight. It might be more of a dedicated lane. But I just wanted to kind of bring that visibility to somebody if you're not sure about if you should choose the straight truck that's dry or the one with refrigerated. Next topic, we're going to be talking about the ELD motive. The reason why I say motive, because motive, aka keep trucking, is the best ELD in the industry. But the real question is, do you need it? Yes. If you're going to travel outside of a 150-mile radius and not return back home within that 150-mile radius every single day, you need an ELD. An electronic logging device is basically what allows you to track your hours of service electronically. And anytime you're pulled over for a roadside or DOT inspection in general, they're going to check your ELD probably first. I mean, they're going to check license and registration and then, send me over your log data. And they're going to check the last 7 to 8 days. That's what it usually tracks. And basically see if you've been operating within the hours of service correctly. And where most people mess up is that they'll either forget to log a brake and then not log it manually, or turn off their ELD, put it on personal conveyance, and then continue to travel. And ELD is actually the ELD out of services is actually the top 4 reasons for driver out of services in the nation. So make sure you at least have your ELD, watch some videos, and educate yourselves on how to use it properly. And that'll probably save you a lot of hassle as far as staying out of trouble with DOT. And as far as calculating your cost per mile, it doesn't get any easier than this, right? So I'll link this cost per mile calculator in the description. I've made a few videos on this. You guys can drop a comment if you want me to take certain scenarios, whether you're renting, financing, owning outright, got a driver or not, and you can just, man, you can make so many different variations before you start to get an idea of how much it's going to cost you to operate your box truck. So make sure you guys are taking making use of these tools and this information that I'm giving you, because a lot of people are in the dark and just watching YouTube shorts or Instagram shorts and reels, but they're not actually getting information on how to learn this information. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. If you do, make sure you like, comment down on what you want to see next, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time. Peace.